you want to give people some insight into your other background that makes you a really good guest for this topic.
Yeah, so I'm a nerd. I've been interested in computers since high school, and I'm 51 years old. So I was in high school in the late 80s, early 90s. As a matter of fact, I remember getting these computers in our computer class, and I actually hacked into the teacher's computer to change everybody's grades to an A, and they stuck me on my own individual standalone computer. So almost something like you'd see out of the movies a little bit. But in any event, I went off to college having no idea what I wanted to major in. I was a basketball player, and really all I wanted to do was play college basketball. And so I ended up playing at A&M. But when I had to major in something. And so I started in what they call general studies, which means you're not really majoring in anything. And I started taking these computer classes. And, just to set the stage for your younger listeners, there was no internet, there was no email, there was no smartphones, there was no social media, there was none of that stuff in the early 90s. I had one of the first email addresses of anybody at A&M. Of course, the thing was, it was completely and totally useless because there was nobody to email, right?
Right.
I remember seeing the first Internet Explorer software. I mean, they call it an Explorer now, but the first web browser, I remember that was actually owned and developed by the government. I remember seeing that on Unix computers in the computer lab. But in any event, been interested in technology for a very long time, and just by pure luck kind of got involved in technology at a time when it just kind of has literally just absolutely exploded. So people say, well, how'd you end up at law school? And I tell them, the story I say is, I spent 4 years in college in a computer lab with a bunch of nerds, and I didn't want to spend the rest of my life behind a computer screen with a bunch of nerds. So I went to law school, and now what do? 25 years later, I sit behind a computer screen with a bunch of nerds.
Right.
So I've been interested in the technology forever. We've had, websites since before lawyers thought that was something you were supposed to do. We've been paperless for over a decade now. So there's a lot of things we've done from a technology standpoint applicable to the law, which I think a lot of your listeners are lawyers or interested in the legal community. We can talk about what I'm doing with AI right now. We've been using some large language models for about a year to some pretty good effect, although they're far from perfect, to say the very least. So anyway, that's kind of the long version of my background.